Welcome back, everybody, to another video. Today I'm talking about Jhoira, Weatherlight Captain. For 2, a blue and a red, you get a 3/3 legendary creature, human artificer, with the effect whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. Historic spells are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are also historic. So, essentially, it's a bunch of artifacts in this deck. It's a lot of low power ones. It's ones from this past year, 2022. Nothing from Brothers War's in here. I haven't really gone through the Brothers War set and picked out stuff to add in here, but at a further date, I will be doing that. So nothing from Brothers War, for the most part, will be in this stack. I don't think anything from Brothers War is actually in these 10. But a lot of these are things from 2022. So you'll see things from Kamigawa through Dominaria United. Okay, so without further ado, here we go. Starting at number 10, we have Armed Guard Familiar. So for 1 in the blue, you get a 2/1 artifact creature equipment beast. So it triggers Jhoira. Ward 2, pretty self-explanatory. Have to pay 2 to target it. And then it also has equipped creature, gets +2/+1, and has Ward 2. So it buffs creatures and gives them protection, and it's reconfigured 4. So the reconfigure part, kind of expensive, but I like having the access to Ward, and in this deck, you're drawing a lot of cards. You generally generate a lot of mana in this deck, blue and red. And so normally the reconfigure part isn't too steep, but it's also there in case you kind of break and don't have nothing to do with your hand. So this is number 10 for me. It's worked out from before in multiple games. I like the Ward on it. It's a cheap card. It's a 2-cost draw card essentially, so that's why it's in here. Doesn't get equipped a lot, but when it does, it usually helps out. At number 9, I have Thopter Engineer, 2 in a red for a 1/3 creature human artificer. And when this enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 colors Thopter artifact creature token with flying, and artifact creatures control of haste. So the giving haste is the important part. A lot of artifact creatures, you generate a lot of tokens in this deck. You make a lot of Thopters. You get a lot of equipment artifacts like Armed Guard Familiar. This is from Commander 21, which is the Lorehold deck. But yeah, this is actually pretty good. You get a fly out of it, and you get a haste theme on her. This really helps out. It really helps speeding up your deck, you could say. Let's go to move that there. And at number 8, I have Riddle Smith. So this is a 1 and a blue for a 2/1 human artificer. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So same effect as Jhoira. So if Jhoira gets removed, you have this out to also trigger on artifacts. But you have the downside of having to discard a card. But I don't usually mind pitching cards, especially if you have cards with flashback in your deck. I do have a lot of things in red that have flashback in here, mostly card draw spells. So you can use this with like a Thrill of Possibility, Striker Ridge, those kinds of things. Usually works out pretty well. And it's just another card draw engine in your deck. And at number 7, I have Enthusiastic Mechanaut. For blue and a red, you get a 2/2 artifact creature, Goblin Artificer. So it's an artifact, so it draws a card. If it enters while Jhoira is out, it has flying, and artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Just something to help speed the deck along. Works pretty well in the deck. It's hard to avoid because it's flying. It's a 2/2 as well, so it has a little bit more built-in power and toughness. I really like this one. Something that should definitely for sure be in your deck if you're running Jhoira. All right, at number 6, a bit of a change up, but I found this from the list. So Golem's Heart for 2 mana, it's an artifact. Whenever a player casts an artifact spell, you may gain 1 life. And that's any player. So when anyone's playing artifact spells, so you get their soul rings, any boots, arcane signets, any signets really. You have the ability to gain life. You can choose not to. But also you're casting a lot of artifacts, so you're gonna gain life off of it. This is a really good card, really cheap. Most people see it, don't even bother with it. So nice little piece to have out there on the board. At number 5 for me today is Patchwork Automaton. So this is something you might actually see in Standard right now. I actually played against it a bit today in artifact-based decks. So for 2 mana, you get Patchwork Automaton. It's a 1/1 artifact creature construct, so draws a card from Jhoira. Ward 2, so built-in protection, then whenever you cast an artifact spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Patchwork Automaton. So Patchwork Automaton has protection. It's a 2-drop 1/1, and then it buffs it, and then it pluses itself whenever you cast more artifacts. It's an artifact-based deck. This thing gets big. It has protection. Most people don't want to pay that extra cost for it. Can get really out of hand really quickly. I really like this card. It's been seen in standard too, so keep a lookout for this one. I think this one has very good potential with the current standard format. At number 4, I have Nadir Kraken. For 1 and 2 blue, you get a 2/3 Kraken. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Nadir Kraken and create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. So if you have the extra mana, you get to pay 1, and you can put counters on this, and you create little blockers, little things that kind of just get in people's ways. And you're going to be constantly drawing cards with Jhoira. There's a bunch of other card draw spells in the deck. This one just kind of makes sense to me. It synergizes with card draw. You usually have the extra 1 mana to pay for stuff. So I really don't mind this one. It's really good. I really enjoy having the deck. Number 3. This is a favorite card of mine. I actually really love this card. Metalwork Colossus. For 11 mana, you get a 10/10 artifact creature construct. But the catch is Metalwork Colossus costs X less to cast, where X is the total converted mana cost of non-creature artifacts you control. So that includes like Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, any of your other signets, Golem's Heart, for example, which is right here. There's another card coming up that will also count towards it. And then you can sacrifice 2 artifacts, return Metalwork Colossus from your graveyard to your hand. It doesn't say non-creature or creature, it just says 2 artifacts. So if you're making tokens, like say Thopter Engineer, you're able to flash it back and forth. Those Thopters are artifacts. If you have, say, just really anything that's in this deck, you can kind of just use it to bring this back. And I've used this multiple times. It works out so well. And normally you get to cast it free because you have such high amount of you have a high amount of CMC and artifacts on your board already. And this is usually just a free 10/10 drop, or at most you're paying 2 or 3 mana for it. It's worked for me multiple times. I've been able to fling it too, and then bring it back and then fling it again. It's been so good. Like, this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I love using this card. It's a personal favorite of mine for sure. At number 2, Panharmonicon. Panharmonicon is a 4-drop artifact. If an artifact or creature entering the battlefield would cause a triggered ability of a permanent control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So this essentially just doubles up on Jhoira's effect. So if an artifact or creature enters the battlefield, causes a triggered ability of a permanent control to trigger. So the permanent you control is Jhoira. The thing entering the battlefield is an artifact or creature, which for the most part will be everything in the deck that's entering. So you essentially just draw 2 cards here. So you're getting to draw 2, it doubles up your draws. Really, I love this card, Panharmonicon, and this artwork. Oh man, it's just like that foiling. This artwork is just so nice. It's from Double Masters last year, 2022. One of my favorite cards in the deck. I, for the most part, keep a lot of my decks very like within a budget, but there are some pieces in there like this that I just love to have in there that really synergize well with the deck. This is one of those for sure. And at number 1, a bit of a curveball, I think, for some of y'all when y'all see this one. So here we go. At number 1 for me is a Planeswalker, Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh. For 2 and 2 blue, you get a legendary Planeswalker. It starts with 4 loyalty. It's his activated ability. It's the first activated ability of an artifact you activate. Each turn costs 2 less to activate. So that would be, there's actually nothing here that has an activated ability, but it's like pay 3, do something kind of thing. Not really thinking of anything that comes to mind right now, but I do have a lot of it in the deck. I just haven't really played this deck in a while, but still something that's fun to play. Anyways, +1, draw 2 cards, and discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card, which we have a ton of. -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, it has base power and toughness 4/4. And then the ult on this is -6. You get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card. So you get to tap a lot of things in this deck. You attack with a lot of your artifact creatures, so you're going to be drawing cards off of your attacks. I've ulted this off a couple times just because I'm able to get so many things out that kind of just slow down the game. And this is one of my favorite cards to use in the deck. Plus, this artwork is amazing. I love this Tezzeret. It's so nice. Look at that. This full art, extended art, Mumbo Jumbo Tezzeret Betrayer Flesh. This is from Neon Dynasty, Kamigawa. But yeah, one of my favorite cards this last year. It's just so nice. It's up there with like Wandering Emperor for me from that set. But yeah, works well. Synergizes with the deck, makes the deck cost less. Really, really fun. So going over it one more time before we wrap this one up. At number 1, Tezzeret Betrayer Flesh. Number 2, Panharmonicon. 3 is Metalwork Colossus. 4 is Nadir Kraken. 5, Patchwork Automaton. 6, Golem's Heart. 7, Enthusiastic Mechanaut. 8 is Riddlesmith. 9 is Stop the Engineer. And 10 is Armed Guard Familiar. Thank y'all guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see other artifacts, things like that in this deck, let me know. I will post another video with other things from the deck. It's a pretty fun deck to play. I really enjoy it. Hope you like this video though. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like and share the video if you enjoyed it. And with that, see you next time. Peace.